GT the Vibe Podcast coming to another episode, rocking a little button up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Today, I'm going to be talking about the prophet Elijah and mental health, essentially. It's going to be some personal stuff that I'll throw in this. I'm going to try to not make this a long one. If I get teary-eyed, I apologize, guys. Some of this stuff hits deep for me. Stuff that I've been through, battles that I fought, still battling, will continue to battle. But I know that God is my friend. He is here with me. When He whispers, it can change a life. So let's talk about the prophet Elijah, one of two men taken to heaven alive, without going through death. So he didn't have to go through death. So God thought very, very, very highly of Elijah. He encountered a spirit that they call the Jezebel Spirit, Queen Jezebel. How she got to glory, things she had to do, things she did, irreputable, evil. If you look the picture of evil up in a dictionary, you'll probably see a picture of Jezebel on there. The way I describe her is modern day like narcissism, by borderline personality disorder, like those cluster personality disorders where it's like evil is within somebody and it's just like taken over. They don't have control. And in these situations it sucks because as a human being, as a Christian that I am, like even in these situations, like it's hard to, you can't hate people that are hurting. Trauma caused these things to happen to them. Trauma, I always tell people, trauma opens up wounds where evil can come in. Trauma opens up wounds. Well, let me write that down. Trauma opens up wounds where evil can come in. Where evil can come in. And once evil has dug its way in to those wounds, it's like a parasite. It's cancerous and grows. Over time grows. Think of a little story. What if you have a young lady who grew up in a very good home. Home life was good. Child life was good. Gets into the dating scene in high school and dates the wrong guy. Mentally abused. Physically abused. He kicks her to the curb. Next guy, same thing. Mentally abused, physically abused. And then this young lady starts to think, okay, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Like, what is wrong with me that's causing this to happen to me? Open wounds, right? Trauma opens up wounds that allows evil in. So her wounds are open and the evil is starting to pour in. So she learns the behaviors of the guys who wronged her in her younger days, her first relationships. These are the ones that matter. Your first relationships are the ones that matter the most when it comes to trauma and your battle with mental health. Learn behavior. This person can go on and possibly live a happy life, or this person can go on and struggle a lot. Sometimes in these situations you get people that develop personality disorders. Narcissism is one that comes to mind, one of the cluster B personality disorders. And so they develop these mental health issues because of trauma. And so trauma's let evil in, and now evil is inside the person. This person may get married, have kids. And then at the least moment when things are going well, then it strikes. Like hot iron. Strikes like hot iron. And this could be a man too. This could be a boy. It could be a young boy in abusive relationships early on. And the trauma has opened up wounds and allowed evil in. And guys, gals, if you think evil ain't real, something is wrong with you. So let's evil in. and they never deal with the evil that has come inside their life. So now the evil doesn't always have to make itself known in the beginning. Sometimes over time it just builds. You're stacking more evil on top of evil. And as you grow older, you develop still. You're developing your interpersonal ability to have relationships. And evil's entrenched, right? Because you never went to counseling. You know, you might not have been prayed for. And I know not everybody who's watching my podcast is a Christian. But you didn't work out the evil that went into your relationship growth. And so now you're in a relationship full on. You might be married. You might have multiple kids. You might be married. Something happens, then you make a mistake. Cheat. Lie. Hide stuff. Whatever it may be. So something happens, and then try to work it out. Because intrinsically, you are deep down inside. You're actually a pretty good person. You actually have a good heart. Evil is ravaging your decision-making ability and all up inside your brain, right? Your soul, there's a fight for your soul going on inside your body, and you don't even know it. Try to work it out. Doesn't work. You know, you got to move on. Then the trend begins, right? The first evil is done, right? In the back, I got that Jezebel Spirit back there. Spoke about it in an earlier podcast. And so, thinking about the Jezebel Spirit and the anger, the emotional, the manipulation, somebody who's extremely sexualized themselves. These people will, with these disorders, with this evil that's built up inside them, they'll change their look, change their hair color, change their makeup, they'll go buy crazy stuff. I spoke about it in a podcast a couple months back, where divorced people will buy the dumbest shit, change their image, right? They are looking for something to fill the void that they just left behind. They made a mistake, and because the evil was already lurking inside of them, see, they did not know the evil was lurking until it was time for the evil to make a move. And now you have an adulterous wife or ex-husband or whatever you want to call them. Now they're adulterous. One of the hardest things to come back from when it comes to Christianity in the Bible. Can you come back from it? Yes. Got to change your ways, though. But these people can't. They can't. So there's a hole right in here. And it's a hole that it's hard to fill. It's hard to fill that hole. You can't just fill it. It's for me as a Christian, only God can fill that type of hole. I know not everybody's a believer, like I said, but for me as a Christian, only God can fill that hole. And so they stuff it with people. Body after body lined up. It's like a firing range. They're just lining people up, popping them off one by one. They get fuel. The evil inside them gets fuel off of this. They will ruin somebody's life and have no remorse for it. Jezebel Spirit. Evil is what controls a lot of these personality disorders that we speak of today. Therapists won't say it, but even Christian therapists probably won't say it, but I'll say it. It is trauma opened that wound and evil came in. But it took evil a little bit of time to develop itself to the point of being demonic. Once there's enough evil built up inside of you, you become a safe haven for demons. On another podcast, we'll talk about how to cast out those demons, because we all are fighting something. depression, anxiety, all these mental health disorders, all the battles that people may have, all the issues that people are going through. What are some steps? What are some things that we can do? What did Jesus do? What did God do? So you got two types of mental health issues. One is caused by evil, right? Jezebel Spirit, BPD, narcissism, evil, entrenched. Those are different than what Elijah had. So we're going to talk about Elijah for a little bit, about what he was going through, the battles that he was fighting. Anxiety, depression, having manic episodes, not believing in himself, not thinking that he can carry on. So here you have a battle of two different types of mental health. On the one hand, Jezebel is pure evil, demonic based mental health issues. On the other hand, you have life related mental health issues, depression, anxiety, things of that nature. Well, God deals with Elijah, so let's talk about it. Elijah was cast out by Queen Jezebel. She wanted him dead, so my man ran, like any smart person would do in that situation. I don't blame him for running. I'll never say anything negative about him for running, because I'd have ran too if I was him. So let's talk a little about what God did. In 1 Kings chapter 19, I'm just going to kind of skim through it a little bit. Now Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. So Jezebel sent a message to Elijah to say, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them." Here you have a play on the two different types of mental health issues. Jezebel, who's narcissistic, bipolar type of person, is dealing with the assertive man that Elijah is, right? He is going through it. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. Elijah was dealing with depression. He did his day's journey in the wilderness, came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. He asked God to take his life. He said he had enough. He said, "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." So he wanted God to take his life because of the depression that he felt. His depression wasn't from intrinsically being evil. Elijah was a man of God, a man after God's heart, all day, every day. That's the type of prophet, the type of servant that you should aspire to be, is a guy like Elijah. After God's heart, 110%. He encountered, right, another person with mental health. Jezebel. I say mental health, whatever you want to call it. Demon, possessed, whatever. Evil, entrenched, trauma, whatever. I don't know a whole lot about Jezebel's past, so I can't tell you the trauma that she's been through. But I can tell you right now that trauma opened them wounds and evil's in there. She is the epitome of demonic. So clearly here it states that Elijah is afraid of what's about to happen. So what does God do, right? What does God do? All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank and then lay down again. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." So he got up and ate and drank. Strengthened by that food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. There he went into a cave and spent the night. And the word of the Lord came to him. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" He replied, "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire either. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. A gentle whisper. Out of all the things that just happened, a gentle whisper. Then a voice said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" He replied, "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." The Lord said to him, "Go back to the way you came, and go to the desert of Damascus. When you get there, anoint Hazael king over Aram. Also anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, king over Israel. And anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat from Abel Meholah, to succeed you as prophet." So the Lord is giving him a job to do. So Elijah went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing the 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driven the 12th pair. Elijah went up to him and threw his cloak around him. Elijah then left his oxen and ran after Elijah. "Let me kiss my father and mother goodbye," he said, "and then I will come with you." "Go back," Elijah replied. "What have I done to you?" So Elijah left him and went back. He took his yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. He burned the plowing equipment to cook the meat and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he set out to follow Elijah and became his servant. So here you have Elijah in distress. He encountered something he wasn't prepared to encounter. That evil spirit. And the cool thing about it, the great thing about it is, right, God was there the whole time. Right? God is a friend closer to you than a brother. Let me tell you, God is a friend closer to you than a brother. So, what did God do? Well, going up there, man. Going up on top of that mountain. The Lord is coming. Did the Lord come powerful and almighty and just shocking everybody? No, he came with a whisper. In order for somebody to whisper in your ear, what must they be? Right next to you. So, in his walk, in Elijah's walk with God, through all the turmoil, God never left his side. He was there every single step of the way. That's the key to understanding how to combat depression, anxiety. God was there. He made a way when nobody else could. He gave him work. So not only did he whisper to him, which means that he was present. The Lord was present when he was needed by Elijah. He was present. He was there. So he's there. He's present. And then he gives him work. He says, hey, I need you to do this. Then he goes on. And Elijah does the work. He never lost sight of what his job was, what his goal was, right? He never lost sight of God. And so in all his distress, he never once lost sight of God. How many of us can say that here today? We never lost sight of God. Elijah may have felt despondent, but he was never out of the Lord's sight or care. You know, God empowered him to run 100 plus miles. Next, he led Elijah to a shade tree in the wilderness. Then the Lord neither corrected nor condemned the prophet. See, he never condemned him or corrected him. In his misery, as he was battling through his despondent thoughts of depression, wanting to kill himself, suicide, the Lord never condemned him or corrected him. Instead, he allowed him to rest. Sending an angel with necessary nourishment, not once but twice. So, in the spirit of depression and anxiety, we should ask the Lord for rest. I think a lot of people get in the mindset of, oh, you got to take this away from me. You have to take this away. I don't want this anymore. Life is easier without it. But I believe that living through these seasons makes you stronger. Gains more appreciation for the Lord when you live through these seasons. These seasons are normal. They're going to happen. But in order for us to be able to strengthen our relationship and to show that we trust in the Lord, we have to be able to go through them. So instead of always asking for the Lord to take things away from you, ask him to allow you to rest. Because sometimes when you allow the Spirit a chance to rest, it can help alleviate some of these things and get you prepared for the journey that's ahead. You don't need to condemn somebody who's going through depression or anxiety as a Christian or as a family member, just in general. If they're going through depression and anxiety, don't condemn them. Don't correct them either. Pray that they may find rest. Pray that the Lord will give them rest. And when you rest upon the Lord, everything else gets easy. It says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and everything else will be given to you. So you got to seek him first. So when you ask to rest in the Lord, you're asking for them to find a way to seek the Lord first. Granted, you've got depression. You've got anxiety. Yes, you've got some issues, but seek the Lord first, and he will correct what needs to be corrected. But you have to seek him first. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. For me, going through high school, obviously I grew up, my dad left when we were younger, so struggles I had some struggles in high school, middle school, even elementary school, struggles. My mom did what she could. But there were battles that we were fighting personally, me and my brothers, that nobody knew about. It wasn't until recently, when within the past about year or so, I started going to counseling, that I started to realize of some of these battles that I was facing. Anxiety is huge. Dealt with it in spurts over time. I used to think mental health stuff wasn't real. Oh, you just get over depression. Oh, you just get over the anxiety. You don't. It is a work in progress. It's an everyday battle. And so one thing that I learned over time is that as you're in the battle, as you're in the trenches, as you're going to war, have gratitude. So that'd be point number one. Have gratitude. Because I learned that as I had gratitude, it helped me to be able to find solace in my current situation. Because you can't worry about tomorrow today. Tomorrow's got its own problems. And that was my problem. I was always worried about the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day after that. And so I'd get myself amped up worrying about the next day, not realizing that I can't control what's about to come. I have no control over about what's about. I can plan a trip for 3-4 months down the road. I may not even be here 3 or 4 months down the road. That's the reality of life, right? And so I prayed a lot over the years. Counseling has helped a lot. I recommend it. I used to think going to therapy was for the weak. If it's for the weak, then I guess I'm weak and I don't even give a damn anymore. It has made me a better person. I've learned how to deal with some of the stuff that I needed to deal with to make me a better, father was number one goal for me. A better partner, a better whatever I need to be. It afforded me the opportunity to be able to get better at the things I need to get better at. And so, the battles, and when I was talking about the early relationships, I had one of those crazy, and I I've seen the Jezebel spirit up close and personal. Whether it be the tantrums, throwing a fit when they don't get their way, tearing things up, violent tendencies. And it took me, I had resentment. It took me so long to understand why that response happened. And so it could be years ago, it could be yesterday, for you guys, whatever it may be. For your own well-being, forgive. And that was the hardest part for me, was being able to forgive, being able to let go. And it's not about saving face or trying to look good or any crap like that, but it's about the things that it does to you when you hold on to it. Holding on to animosity, holding on to resentment, those are things that cause mental health issues inside the person that's holding it. Yeah, you may have been in a relationship with a Jezebel spirit. You may have been in a relationship with a narcissist or somebody with borderline personality disorder. You may have gone through the battles. But you're still here. So that means you didn't lose the war. You are still here. And understand that when you went through those battles, that God was there the whole time. And I think it's hard for me to realize that, to be able to get myself to a point where I was like, okay, I get it. I understand why. But I also understand why not. And the why not part is why they not here. And I think that's huge in these situations. When you get in these situations, you get in these relationships, you get these mental beat downs, you have to realize why they're not here. And I will tell you this one thing. God is definitely 100% good, and He's good all the time. 100% good, and He is good all the time. Because nothing in my life attached me to that person with the Jezebel spirit. So when I say I could just go and just be gone, guess what? Out of here. You're out. So I had the opportunity to rebuild myself, right? To get myself where I needed to be and find a healthy partner. Somebody who doesn't exhibit the traits of the Jezebel spirit. Somebody who knows how to love. Because with the Jezebel spirit, that ain't even love. That's somebody using you for all that you got. And so when you get the opportunity to be loved by somebody, like actually loved, It'll change your life. Like somebody who actually cares about your emotions, your feelings, can help you grow, help you get to a higher level, help you build, right? That's where you want to be. And what I realized is that, I thank God because I dodged some bullets for sure. No, like when you can get away with zero attachment from these type of people, yeah, it'll suck. You'll want closure, but the only closure you need is but God. It's the only closure you need. Write that down. Take a picture of that. But God, because He delivered you from evil. You were allowed the opportunity to walk away and not have to look back from these type of situations, these type of people. And the healing process starts that day. And so, but God, so you were in it, but God got you out of it. And so even like Elijah, as he was walking in the wilderness alone, right? He was led. It says right there, he was led. Let me pull it up. He led him to the shade tree. You think Elijah just showed up at the shade tree? No. God led him there for a reason. That is where he was meant to be. At that moment in time, he was meant to be in that position. And so that's where he was meant to be. And so guess what? God led him there. Out of evil, the evil of the world, the evil of a particular person. He will lead you away from the evil from a particular person, the evil of the world, the evil that's inside your mind. Asking for God to take your life. Being suicidal. God can lead you away from all that evil. And He can lead you to something better, something good, something called life. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension," you can't comprehend it, "will guard your heart and your minds in Christ." And so those are the two pieces. Philippians literally says it right there, 4:6-7. I'm going to read it again. "Be anxious for nothing." So don't be anxious. "But in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension." You can't even comprehend the peace of God. "Will guard your heart and your minds in Christ Jesus." So He's guarding your heart and your mind. So when you get in situations like Elijah did, when you get in situations like some people in their relationships out here in the world, they get with a Jezebel spirit, right? Ask for guidance from God, because God is there with you. Ask Him for guidance, and He will protect your heart and your mind. I don't know who better to protect your heart and your mind than God Himself. He better than the best militaries. Best militaries can guard your heart and mind. Protect it. Because guess who's out there lurking? So for my anxious and depressed people, or people that have been in relationships with people with these type of disorders that are destructive, when you get down on your wits' end and you think this is it, remember, but God. When you get down to that last piece and you think you can't go no more, God will lead you out. He will show you the path and say, "Hey, this is how you're going to get out. Go do it." And then when you go do it, you get out, you keep on walking. God will tell you when to stop. That's a great verse. I don't know what surpasses all comprehension. you can't even comprehend the peace of God. You can't even comprehend it. And his ability to guard your hearts and your minds. You notice they had to add minds on there too, because minds be getting you in trouble. Let me tell you, minds be getting you in trouble. Your heart gets you in trouble too, but your mind gets you in trouble. Your heart keeps you stuck. That's what we're gonna say. Your mind gets you in trouble, but your heart keeps you stuck. And so it's been a good podcast. I know there's people out there dealing with in relationships with these type of people that may have these type of disorders. Pray. If you believe in Jesus Christ, even if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, pray. Pray that prayer. Read Philippians 4:6-7. Pray that God give me peace, guard my heart and my mind, and allow me to rest. Pray for those 4 things: peace, protection of your heart and your mind, and rest. And God will give you those things because he said he will. If there's a man of his word out there, that's definitely going to be him. He's going to be the one man 100% you can trust. He's going to do what he told you, what he said he's going to do. If he said he's going to give you peace, oh yeah, he's going to give you peace. He's going to guard your heart and your mind. Oh yeah, he guarding both of them. And can't nobody get in. Right? Can't anybody get in. I know I touched base and I broached the subject of the Jezebel Spirit, talking about narcissism and borderline personality disorder and the cluster B personality stuff. I broached that subject. That'll be in the next podcast. This one, I wanted to broach that subject, but I wanted to focus in on Elijah and the spirit of Elijah and what he meant. Depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, those things are prevalent in the world. And a lot of times people get those things because of dealing with people like this. So you get entrenched in these things, these thoughts, because somebody's trying to break you down to your core. But you ain't messing with God. If you got the Jezebel spirit in you and you think you're going to come against God, good luck to you. You know what happened to actual Jezebel in the Bible tells you the story. That's the most gruesome death in the Bible. Not a joke. And so, play if you want to. God ain't messing around. He is not messing around. He will protect his people from these people. I'm not here to cast hate on them. I know why people are like that. I understand. I get it. I just don't excuse the behavior because I am an Elijah spirit. I'm an assertive dude. I don't play that crap. Let a friend of mine tell me that they're in a situation like that, I'll step up. I don't care. I'll tell you like it is. I will call you out if you need to be called out. But I will be nurturing and caring and loving as heck when you need that too. That's one thing I learned in life is that, through my own trauma, through the things that I went through when I was younger, through the things that I've gone through throughout my life, that sometimes people just need you close enough to whisper. And in order for you to do that, you have to be in the trenches with them. Pulling people out of the evils that may lay, sometimes you can't pull them out. Sometimes you gotta let them go. There will come a day and a time when you have to make that decision, but I'm just telling you what it is. So a couple key points to just remember as we kind of end this thing. Trauma opens up wounds where evil can come in. And situations cause the evil to turn into a demonic presence inside that person. That person ain't even there no more. When the demonic presence happens, that person's not even there anymore. That person ain't the person that you knew in the beginning. You'll get a totally different person. And you'll be wishing that you can get that other person back. But sometimes you got to understand that person ain't coming back because that person was probably never there in the first place. Demons seek to destroy, right? They will destroy and conquer and kill. That's what they do. Destroy, conquer, kill. Any means necessary. So if that's seducing you, they will seduce you. Yeah. If that's complimenting you 1,000 times in the beginning just to make you feel like you're something you're not, you know what you are, so be what you are. Understand what you are. If a motherfucker's telling you a 10 and you know you a 7, that motherfucking lying, excuse my French. Call him out. Stop lying. Tricks. It's manipulation. There's a spiritual battle going on out here, man, and I'm telling you, it's real. It is 100% real. It's 100% authentic. People aren't lying when they say that there's a spiritual battle going on. We must be prepared as Christians for war. We need more Elijahs out here. Too many Ahabs in the churches. Passive, just letting things roll. Not protecting the kids. We need more Elijah spirits out here. Assertive men who will go lion on you if they need to, but can be lamb at the same time. Because them are the ones that aren't going to let Jezebels run rampant. No. Put them in their place, shut them down, try to get them help. Put them in their place, shut them down, try to get them help. So on my next podcast, I will talk a little bit more about the Jezebel spirit. We'll go in depth, and we'll talk about how God dealt with it, which I think you guys kind of know how God dealt with Jezebel himself. I mean, that's a spirit of death. Like, you know, they say people with these type of disorders, narcissism, borderline personality disorder, they cut like 20 to 25 years off their life. I mean, so they're living on a short time span anyway because of all the evil. Evil will literally kill you. Will literally kill you. Some of these people don't even know that they are evil. They walk amongst us and they don't even realize how evil that they are. And that's the scary part. So we must be able to pay attention and be standing watch to understand some of these things. That way we don't get caught up. If this thing happens or comes to us, we can handle our business on our end. So stay protected, stay assertive, and be watchful and be mindful of the people that are around you. Sometimes when somebody's got beat down by this person, they're looking for somebody to help them. Reach out. Take their hand. Bring them in. And it's okay to be close enough to whisper. Because you know what that means? That you're in the trenches. You're doing battle with this person. God did battle with Elijah when he was at his lowest because he encountered one of these. And let me tell you, he led him where he needed to be. God will lead you out of any situation that you don't need to be in. He will. It's crazy because sometimes you be dumb as heck thinking you're doing something smart when you just doing what the heck he had, what God planned for you in the first place. He didn't already wrote the book. So guys, I look forward to it. If you guys like our stuff, please like, subscribe, share this post as we continue to grow. We're going to have some more good stuff coming out this week. But I look forward to rocking with you guys. I appreciate you guys continuing to rock with us, listening to us, being able to help us grow as we continue to push. If you guys have any comments, please put them down at the bottom. Any questions, let us know. It's GT Divide Podcast. I'm out.